let's go ahead and create that ice jungle. Now, when I make any kind of biome, I generally like to make the terrain first before I start adding a bunch of stamps. So a jungle doesn't have to be flat. And what makes a map interesting to me is this height variation. So why don't we make sure we're set to the right layer? That's going to be your biome stamps. I was on labels before. Let's stay in biome stamps. So now I'll be able to select stuff. So let's go ahead and pick here. And what I'll do is maybe I should pick some kind of terrain stamp that would be interesting. Like I could use snowy hills. Maybe these snowy mountains might work. There's a lot of different options here that we could choose from. Let's type in terrain. And when I type in terrain in that search field there, you'll see that I have like all this terrain available to me. So let's just kind of look it out here, as well as all kinds of stamps. Rocky cliffs. Let's go with these rocky cliffs right here. This looks good. I'm going to pay attention to my scale. This is going to be important when you decide that you want to export this as a composite. You're always going to want to factor in your scale. These stamps right in here are set around 80%. The trees are just a little bit smaller than that, but it's around 80% scale. I'm trying to keep it as close to 100 as possible. But let's go ahead and place down some terrain. So I'll go ahead and place some terrain pieces here. And when I'm placing my terrain, I kind of have a method that I like to use when I'm placing things like cliffs, is I try to create this sense of depth by creating like a line. So I have this various steps here. I can put one like maybe right here like this. And then why don't we place some more over here? Kind of like this. Let's place some over here. Kind of placing these all together, kind of creating these kind of sense of steps, but making the jungle a little bit more interesting than just a completely flat face. So I think that looks a little bit more interesting. There we go. Let's add a couple more here. There we go. Let's put one right there as well in this corner. This should create some more interesting landscape. Okay. All right. So on top of that, I'm going to go ahead and use my shape tool. And right here, I've already kind of have it in my recents, but I'm going to be using another shape with a clipping mask fill. I'm going to go add, and I don't need to merge the shapes or anything, but I'll go down to where my masks are right here, where my masks are, going on a different layer. And then I'm going to go use a brush right here. It's called your brush. And I'm not going to merge my shapes. Let's make sure the brush is nice and small. Like this. And then I'm just going to go in and kind of fill in these spaces right here like this. Looks good. And then this one right here needs it as well. There we go. Okay. Now that I've set up, I have my terrain done right here. That looks good. We can now start adding in the next. We're kind of building our way up. So the next step is I should probably add in some kind of jungle trees of some kind. So let's go in here. Let's just type in jungle. And you see there's quite a few jungle options in here. There's these kind of swamp trees. There's this palm trees. These jungle trees might look good. Let's go with maybe these ones right here. This looks good. And there are a couple options here. Maybe I want to have, I like the contrast of maybe if these are maybe made of ice, then maybe I should change these up. Let's go to tweak colors. Let's desaturate it to remove all the color. Let's bring the brightness up. We'll kind of bring the contrast down. Let me see how bright these are. Oopsie, I'm on the wrong layer. Go back to biome stamps. There we go. That looks good. Let me just kind of place a couple of these, just see how they look. Yeah, that looks good to me. Okay. All right. So from here, I'm going to make a series of large clusters of trees. So let's make a large cluster right here like this. Let's put another large cluster right here like this. Let's put another one maybe on this corner or just right here. One right down here like this. Let's put one up top here. Here as well. Put it in a good section. Some over here. And the big swaths of trees don't have to be one giant blanket. It could be just a series of clusters. Like you put a big one, just this really, really big one. It's a little bit more central. but I don't want it to be perfectly symmetrical, so I'll kind of move it a little bit this way. Let's put some over here like this. And let's put some over here like this. This corner looks good. Okay. What I also find good is variation. Like a jungle has more than just kind of jungle trees. So maybe we also want to create some bushes beneath. And normally what I would do is you could use a stamp or a texture to kind of accomplish this. And when I am making a world map, I don't normally limit myself to just fantasy world textures. I'll use a lot of different, a frozen Mayan ruin. I like that idea, but we're only doing the biome for now. We can put structures on these, but we'll stick with the biome for now. But I like that idea. It's very cool. Okay. Let's just keep kind of going over this. Let's see here. Yeah, looks good. Okay, so a couple options here. I might want to consider maybe making a bunch of bushes on the ground, and I could use a texture or a stamp. Why don't we go with stamp for now? Let's go with bush. Oops, here we go. Put in a bush. I kind of like, let's use one that's a little bit lighter, so the white will pop out more. Let's take it down a layer so that it's going to be below all the trees. And same thing as before, I'm going to desaturate, bring that brightness up. There we go. And it should be below. There we go. Yep, it's below it. Perfect. Make it a little bit smaller. And then right underneath the trees, I'm going to place all of these bushes. Just right underneath of it. Like this. There we go. That looks good. Mayan ruin. I love that idea. There we go. Place these here. Even in some of the open spaces. Like a jungle is a lot of different vegetation. That's what it's known for. So let's put in a lot of different vegetation. Put lots of little bushes underneath here. This should help to make it look a little bit more interesting. Also, I kind of noticed that these cliff stamps, we should take this terrain, select all of them from the set. Easy, just select one, hamburger menu, select all from the set. And then just go down a layer. There we go. That way my bushes will not be beneath. Oh, they are still. Let's go down one more layer. Select all from the set and go down another layer. There we go. Okay. Just want to make sure that I got my terrain order correct. There we go. That looks good. Make sure that my bushes are beneath. Yep, looks good. Okay. All right, let's continue adding. Let's put some along here, all underneath here. There we go, looks good. And then once we've kind of added in all the stamps, the place that's going to fill in a lot of the negative space, that's wherever there's not stamps, then we'll start adding in textures and light sources and details to make the biome more interesting, because it's fantasy. And right now, it just kind of looks like just a regular jungle that's been kind of frozen over by maybe some blight or magic spell of some kind. So we have to add in some kind of fantastical element to really make this kind of pop out and make it more interesting. So we'll kind of go over that. Let's just go ahead and add in as much of this in here. That looks good. Oop, here's some open spaces. Let's fill those in. Don't want to have all this open space. Lots of stamps. We're going through lots of stamps to make this. There we go. Okay. Let me just take a step back and just kind of see how it looks. So our jungle is kind of coming together. There we go. Why don't we also throw in some texturing now? So maybe some kind of ice of some kind might be good. Let's go into the catalog. You can just press the O key and then press the F key to open up the catalog. For stamps, same thing. You can open up here, press the F key when you have the brush tool selected, and it'll take you into here. I want to check out all my options for ice, so I'm going to click the Inkarnate tab and then just type in ice. And what the Inkarnate tab does is it lets me look for textures across every single style. Ooh, doesn't look like it popped up. 1 second, we'll try it again. There we go. Now I have all my various ice options, and it's across all the various styles, right? So I might want to consider maybe using some of these ice textures. Like I kind of like this turquoise ice right here. It's right from the Fantasy World style. That looks good. But instead of using my regular soft or hard brush, why don't we go up to here and look at our official brushes that are here? You see there's a lot that we can kind of choose from. And why don't we use something like a splatter brush? This splatter looks good. Let's use that. I'll bring the opacity down. Let's go with maybe 51%. And let's bring the brush size down. And then I'm going to make sure that I have my land brush, this brush layer right here selected. And I'm going to go ahead and just place a little bit of ice with that splatter brush right in my open spaces. Like this. There we go. And I am using a pen, but you can also use your mouse. Both work. Just know that with the pen, there is a pen pressure. I'll go ahead and use a mouse so you can see it. When I use my mouse, it has a much bigger area is affected. When I use the pen, there's pen pressure, so it works a little bit better, but I can still use your mouse to set up these more icy sections. So I think that works out well. There we go. So now we have some ice in there. That looks good. Okay, that looks good so far. Why don't we add in a couple things? Let's add in maybe some snowfall, maybe some mist. There's a nice cloud in the fantasy world style. I'm turning the opacity way down to like 16 or so. It has to be really low because the more and more that you stack these clouds, the more denser they get, and it is harder to see through them. So I bring the opacity down quite a bit on these so that it doesn't kind of interfere with the visibility of the biome too much. So I kind of place these here. Looks good. And then I'll go into the catalog. And there's also, if you type in snow, if I go to Fantasy Battle Maps, there is some falling snow in there right here. And I can get these nice and small, bring the opacity down, and just kind of place a little bit of snowfall right in there, mix it in with the mist. That looks good. And then the other thing I might want to consider is we can make things a little bit more interesting. Maybe there's some eerie glow, blue glow that's coming out of the ground, maybe underneath the trees. So let's try something like that. Let's go with light source. Let's go with Inkarnate so I can see all light sources. And there should be like a blue light source, this spooky light source right here. Let's do this. Let's take it down a layer so it's kind of underneath. And then I'm going to go ahead and place this light stamp just right underneath the trees, just like this. That looks good. Let's go ahead and copy paste another one. Copy paste. Place that one underneath here like this. Copy paste another one underneath of that one, underneath it here, underneath this big one right here. Let's bring the scale down a little bit more. And what you're getting is kind of this eerie blue light that's coming out of the trees, giving it that more fantastical kind of element, making it more interesting. So we'll put that eerie light just so it's kind of like coming up out from the trees. And then I can do a couple more things as well to make that light look like it's pouring out of the trees. There should be a couple other light stamps, I believe, in the sci-fi battle map style. Let's try that. Let's see here. Sci-fi battle map. There's a blue one right here like this. This looks good. It's not the exact same color. What we could do is take all these lights right here, change them from that blue to a different blue. So we go over here, maybe change it to this a little bit more on the bluer side. Actually, I kind of liked it the way it was. Let's leave it there. So I'll have to adjust this one real quick. Change the hue. There we go. Get that green. And then I'll go ahead and bring it up to layer +4. And then I'm going to change the width like this, copy paste. And then I'm just going to copy and paste these. And then I'm going to make it look like there's this eerie light that's kind of peering out from the openings in the trees. I think that should look good, especially where you see the light source the strongest. That's where you should probably place those light sources right there like this. So you kind of have this eerie, very eerie kind of light kind of coming out there. That looks good. We'll place a bunch here. Maybe some here as well. It's good here. That looks good. Let's put a couple here. We're almost there. There we go. That looks good. Okay. I think that looks about good to me, I think. There you go. Got the eerie lights kind of coming out. And then this gives it a much more fantasy kind of element to it, right? So the way that my approach is that I make the biome first, and then I'll add a fantasy element after I've made, you know, most of the more natural parts of the biomes, the cliffs, all the stamps, and then I'll try to make it fantasy after I've added it. So it's a mix between mostly getting it to look functional, making it look realistic, and then from there I can mess with it and make it as fantasy as I want. I could have added weird blue crystals on top of the trees. I could have had strange misty tendrils coming out from the openings of the tree trying to grab your players. I could have had all kinds of things that make the trees. Maybe the light sources underneath are an entirely different color. Maybe it's not blue, maybe it's red or green, right? So there's all these different ways that you can make your biome more fantasy. Just first make it realistic, but not necessarily realistic, but make it functional first, and then you can add the fantasy on top of that. I think that's really the best approach that I kind of have. And then once you've kind of finished all that, then just select every single thing here, create the group, and then we'll label it Ice Jungle.